You better watch part 1 first, or I'm gonna get you. Watch part 1 of this video first, or I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna fucking eat your damn toes or something. I don't know, man. Just watch part 1.
Timpani, why? Why do you avoid me? Ow! Ow! Unhand me! Huh? You're crying. Why? Timpani, you must tell me what has happened.
It's nothing. Don't worry about it. Just forget it.
Oh no. Timpani, is my father behind this?
I'm just an ordinary girl. No matter how much I love you, we must part.
Timpani,
This is goodbye, Blumiere. There's no other choice. This is our fate.
Wait, we can't go to chapter 4 yet because no space helmet, and if you go to space without a helmet, you die. So, flip side time. So, one small thing to talk about that makes a difference. Go back to 3-1 and talk to this dude. When you first talk to him, he gives you advice on the first 2 levels of the game, but when you tell him you just beat Francis, he joins your party as a Pixl. This is Barry, the first optional Pixl of the game. As a kid, this felt so cool to me. There was nothing requiring me to go back to 3-1. I just remembered that there was this Pixl-looking dude in the game, and the game rewarded me for that, like remembering to go back there. That's cool. I like optional stuff like that. Barry can reflect projectiles and that's it. And you know what? That's fine. He's not crazy or overpowered, but he's fun and he has his uses. So at the end of the day, he wins. I need to talk about this place, this arcade, because this arcade has some of the most bomb-ass minigames, and I'm talking like I'm not talking like Sonic bonus level stuff. I'm talking Mario 64 DS minigame level. I'm talking new Super Mario Brothers for the DS level stuff, alright? You know, okay. That's the good shit, okay? You got this cool memory game, you got this one where you shoot booze, that's dope. Make sure your motion detector is good because, and also make sure you're like the right distance away because you don't want to be caught with your pants down when, on that one in the game because you don't want some booze, licking your ass. I wouldn't want that. And then you got Tilt Island, which is the best. Don't at me, it's because I say so, okay? Look, what do you expect me to do? You want me to go with like crazy analysis mode in these like minigames? They're minigames, okay? What am I gonna do? Explain like how the parfait represents Mario's torn duality or something? No, it's just for fun, man. Play the minigames. They have cool prizes too. But yeah, you steal this kid's fish, toss it into the water until it mutates, and it starts its own pop culture phenomena, and then use the fishbowl to breathe in space so you can start. This is the worst level in the game. There are no entertaining characters, and don't count this piece of calamari garbage. He is like Minions tier funny, okay, which is like negative on the funny meter. Remember when I said 2-4 was a good maze level because you had a good idea of where you were and how much progress you made? There's no rune numbers here, barely any identifiable landmarks, and they all have the goddamn same space background. The gameplay gets switched, so I guess that's a plus. It turns like into a 2D shoot 'em up type game, but the switch up can't make up for the fact that this level is just a maze. A boring, bad, confusing, also more boring maze that doesn't have any good characters or set pieces to back it up. It's just like the vacuum of space. Nothing. Honestly, this just makes me want to play Mario Galaxy. Mario Galaxy review time, alright? None of this 4-1 stuff, alright? Mario Galaxy time, alright? I like the part with Yoshi and how Mario brutally murders King Thwomp, alright? On to now, this level is actually good. First off, the Squirm guy isn't with you for most of it, based. Second, I love whenever platformers play around with gravity. I just love low gravity sections. It's so fun to jump up crazy high, and they give you a bunch of enemies you can jump up on, like trampolines, right, to go even higher. And it gets even crazier when you use these like time flowers, like with the speed to slow up and down, and it's just fun. It's fun, alright? And when we actually get to the characters, it's not just a barren wasteland of literal nothingness like the first level. There's actually decent dialogue. Honestly, after the complete hellhole that was 4-1, this is just a nice cleansing for my palate. Also, you get a new Pixl, Fleep. And honestly, the way they designed him is kinda weird. His main use is for an optional part of the game, which is good, I'll get to that, but when it comes to the main game, his use is oddly specific. It's just you see the symbol, right, and you use him on it. There's no moment where you have to use him differently, it's pretty much just this. His uses in combat exist. You can stun enemies, but the time it takes to pull them out and stun the enemy actually, and then jump on the enemy, you probably could just like regularly jumped on the enemy. Again, don't hate him, he's not as underused as Slim, and definitely not overpowered to carry, he's just an average Joe. And you know what? That should be fine. We should have more average Joes in society, you know? Good old Fleep. Let's have a Fleep Appreciation Day. You know what? Today, the day we upload this video, probably Thanksgiving, I hope, this is now a Fleep Appreciation Day, alright? Good old Fleep. Anyways, on to... Again, Squirm is taken away from you. Based. This level is kind of like an amendment to 4-1. While it's still the same kind of floating in space level, there's actual obstacles here, and more than just those jellyfish things. And since most of it you don't have Squirm, you have to get somewhat unconventional with how you fight in this level, which I like. I wouldn't really call this a maze level. I mean, I got lost in it a bit, but it's way better than 4-1 considering I had actual landmarks to identify. So basically you gotta get this Choco Bar for Squirm, and then you go to this random space 7-Eleven, and it's funny, and it's a funny bit, but it brings me to an important point. How do these types of places actually work? I'm not talking in-game, I mean like those gas stations, they're like hours away from like any major town. Like, do the people who work there just like drive hours just to get to work? Do they sleep over? Doesn't it get lonely? Is it like usually a temporary situation or a long-term kind of job? I know I'm rambling, I'm just wondering, alright, if you work at like a gas station in like the middle of nowhere, Arizona, I don't know, telling you I guess. But yeah, on to... Okay, so this level is really good off the bat because Squirm isn't with you for the majority of it. Man, even the devs hated this guy. They wrote him out of the story like so much. The aesthetic of this level is just, whoa. I know this game has like the techie geometric aesthetic look, but this one looks like you actually just stepped into a computer chip. And the gameplay is fun too. You get to like play around with a lot with gravity, which again, gravity stuff is cool, you know? I love, who doesn't like gravity, alright? Gravity? Who gives a crap about gravity? I give a crap about gravity, Mr. Scout. Start jumping on the walls, the ceilings, and even the floor. Wait, you already do that. Okay, never mind. But, you know, you do jump on the floor, but that's not the highlights. Mostly the ceilings and the walls. And the gravity of the situation. Again, it's simple, but the little switch-ups like this, it really makes the game. Also, I just want to point out this thing, the Pigramith, I think it's called. I just think it's a really well-designed enemy. So it starts off as like a big, slow target, but you hit it and it becomes smaller and faster. And then by the second hit, it becomes Sonic the Hedgehog. I don't find this thing annoying since you as the player have control over the interaction, so you know when this thing is gonna go crazy. And since it goes so fast, it forces you to get creative with how you hit it, or you just gotta get real and jump on it like a real Sigma male. And then just erupts in a whole crap ton of coins, and it's like, oh! That's satisfying, you know? It's just like, psh, bunch of coins. I get this enemy, 5 pigs out of 6. Angry Birds would definitely hate it. I'm sorry, I like to veer off, okay? Leave me alone. So you keep going, and then, oh my god, oh! Yes! Yes! Oh my, yes! Squirm is dead! Yeah, Squirm's dead! Yeah! Alright, but yeah, you get, sorry. I apologize for that, okay. Keep calm, Crunch, keep calm, okay. But yeah, you fight this Mr. L dude, right? And it's pretty obvious who it is, you know, green, eccentric, flamboyant, very, very gay. I mean, duh. It's the Riddler.
Does anybody else feel like a fried egg?
But yeah, I like this fight because it's like you're basically fighting yourself. The Bowser fight was kind of like this, but Mr. L's hitbox and jump height make him trickier to hit, so it's a lot more fun. There's no weird obstacles like spikes or shield. Mr. L jumps in an arc, and when he's on the ground, he charges up this straight vertical jump that does like a hefty amount of damage. But at the same time, you can't leave him alone or else he'll heal up. The game's making sure that you can't let up on him, and also making his hitbox tricky to pin down, while not having to rely on any gimmicks like Bowser did. And then Mr. L pulls up this giant metal bro, and you gotta fly into space, and you gotta get these Choco Bars and shoot him, and what missiles? This is a Nintendo game, not America with the Middle East. It's fun. After the fight, you go into this room, and it turns out Squirm is actually a prince from millennia and a half ago, who was sent into hibernation by his mom to help the heroes. Honestly, I just think his mom was probably just sick of his crap and like sent him into hibernation, because just like, if I had a child like that, I'd be like, oh, damn. 9 months for nothing? No, this is not a Zam. This is a Zam with an S moment. S for sad. But Squirm gives you a pure heart that's blue in color, so of course you can interpret this chapter's message of love being maternal or parental love. And while I think there's merit to that, I think we see that theme explored already with Merlin and his relationship with Tippy, and also later in chapter 7. I think this ties really in with color theory, as blue symbolizes hope. I think this chapter's facet of love is a generational love. The love you hold for those people that came before and after us, and the trust and hope we place in them to carry our legacy. I mean, I'm saying, that's a lot of love and hope to place in a piece of Mediterranean seafood garbage. Oh my... I can't. No. I'm sorry. I can't talk about him. He's so... This man is this thing is my trigger. Not even a man. Not a boy. This is a filth. A scum. This is the reason I eat seafood, okay? God, I cannot... No, I can't take him. God, I'm moving on. I'm moving on. I really need to talk about these little villain interludes. The characters, by themselves already, are so great, right? But they all just play off each other so well. It's a great way of including these characters while not having to repeat their boss fights over and over again each chapter. I love this scene where she's trying to remind Bleck about how much he used to love the universe, trying to get him to stop it before it's too late, you know? And then there's that moment where Natasha is saying she wished she could have been Timpani, and then Bleck just so coldly rejects her. That's some peak drama right there. I'm sorry, I love Natasha. She's such a great character. Again, it's really hard for me to not expand on Bleck and Natasha, but I'm gonna get that at the end, alright? Trust me. Also, yeah, Timpani and Blumiere are also, Tippy and Bleck. I don't let, things like that slide past my radar, guys. I'm not that dumb. By the way, I love Mr. L. He kind of gives me inverse Luigi vibes. I don't know why. It's kind of like if you took Luigi but emphasized his negative characteristics or hidden desires. And I know it sounds stupid, like, oh, Luigi, what hidden desires would he have? He's Luigi, right? But honestly, Luigi kind of does have that potential to be his own Jekyll and Hyde dynamic, like his own Heisenberg, Two-Face, Diavolo, Green Gabi, Like, look, I like split personality villains, okay? Okay, sorry. All these characters have their good sides, their fronts, but all of them have some sort of catalyst that exposes their darker sides and desires. But if we're going to this crazy idea that Luigi is Mr. L, right? Then in this case, the catalyst for his change would be Natasha's hypnosis, right? But what kind of dark side would Luigi be hiding? Well, let's look at his characters, specifically in the Paper Mario games. Of course, you have the typical Luigi stuff, kind-hearted, but the most defining character trait Luigi has in these games is that he's painfully overlooked. In Paper Mario for the N64, you can go in the basement and find Luigi's diary, where he expresses his jealousy, wishing he could come along with Mario. In the Thousand Year Door, he has his own side story, but Mario cares so little that he actually falls asleep mid-story, and Luigi's own companions just despise him. Even in this game, where Luigi is playable, he's unlocked late in the game, and everyone, even the Goombas, in fact, are just dogging on him. I mean, I know it's a joke that Luigi doesn't get recognized, but jeez, I feel bad for Paper Luigi. At least the other versions of Luigi, he gets like half the respect Mario does. Of course, it's Luigi, so he takes this all in stride, but I think there's a part of him, just a part of him, that holds resentment. So Luigi being hypnotized isn't really a complete brainwash scenario, since Mr. L clearly has motives and actions outside of Bleck's agenda. It's more so a Luigi that's been given the confidence and arrogance to express that built-up resentment and spite. I mean, look at this dialogue. This doesn't just sound like someone who's just met these characters. You can hear the built-up frustration in this dialogue, even if Mr. L isn't aware of his former identity. Well, supposed former identity, because I'm still banking on this being the Riddler.
Oh, what is it that no man wants to have, yet no man wants to lose? A lawsuit, correct, boy wonder? Court?
Break it, you buy it.
And honestly, if this were Luigi, this would make a lot of sense, to why he's considered a good outlet for the Chaos Heart, why he's the perfect catalyst for it in the end of the game. Also, real talk, Paper Mario is just kind of an awful brother, and that's coming from someone who hates that whole evil Mario theory. Dude, I hated that theory so much that I held a grudge against MatPat for like 5 years for that, is Mario evil theory. I'm not even joking. I mean, don't get me wrong, regular Mario is like the best older brother ever, alright? Don't at me on any of that. Just play any of the Mario and Luigi games and you will cry at their sibling relationship. I love it so much. But here, Mario has no reason to not take Luigi. Luigi stays back to take care of the house. But you're seriously telling me Mario can't get anyone to look after their house while he's gone? Mario is willing to team up with all these random people he meets, but not his own brother. That is a total non-paisano move, Mario. Not cool, dude. Not cool. Hi, Emma.
Ora Puski.
What are you looking at?
What? What are you thinking? There's no possible way. No one would allow it.
Can't be happy here. We must leave for a place that will accept our love.
But Blumiere, is there such a place? Think. I can't bear to see you hurt again.
If our love has no home, let us spend our lives searching together. So I beg of you again, Timpani, marry me. I promise I will make you happy.
You just won't give up, will you? Of all the crazy, stubborn, foolish
Timpani,
men.
Answer me, please.
Blumiere, I love you. Take me away. Take me to a world where we can be happy.
Aw, that's nice. Tippy seems really happy. Wait. What? Hey, wait a minute. Is it squirm praise? This is a sin that cannot go unpunished. Death! So yeah, Merlin tells us that Tippy wasn't actually always a pixel, but she was actually turned into one as a way of saving her life. See, this is why you gotta listen to Garrison, dude. He foreshadowed this. Like, Garrison, you're the man, thank you. But yeah, there's no more heart pillars to open up new doors, so you go down and use Fleep to open up this path. And then you hit these multicolored blocks until you accidentally solve the puzzle, and then boom, you're in Flopside. Alright, it's a cool place, man. Like, Flipside itself was already such a great hub filled with side objectives and fun characters, and then halfway through, you learn there's like double the content. I love how every NPC is like their inverse version from their Flopside counterpart, and how damaged and darker Flopside is in comparison to Flipside. So yeah, you get this shop with better items, you have an area where you can cook 2 items instead of just 1, you got this second card shop, which I'll talk about cards later, but you know, a new set of outskirts to explore, but most importantly, you get Garrison 2, baby! Yeah! Whoa, whoa! His name's Carson, by the way. But yeah, this dude Carson has even more lore, dude. Like how Flopside was made to stabilize Flipside, Muni's possible origins, possibly being a witch or even a failed pixel, how Dementio actually came to Bleck and how Bleck accepted him after seeing he was mentioned in the Dark Prognostics. But yeah, my personal favorite bits are the ones about O-Chunks and the Tribe of Darkness. So it turns out O-Chunks was actually a general of his own army, but then one of his advisors ratted him out and caused him to lose all his men in battle. And then Bleck swooped in when he was in this phase of shame and depression. I think this gives O-Chunks the weight his character needed because let's be real, he was kind of flat compared to the other antagonists, and it actually plays really well into the themes of Chapter 8. And then there's the Tribe of Darkness, which apparently was a subgroup within the Ancients that actually split off. They avoided mixing or marrying outside their group because of pride and also to avoid diluting their own magic. They even stole the Dark Prognostics to enhance their magic. It's pretty clear from these dialogues and the flashback dialogues that Bleck is a descendant of this tribe. If the Ancients were the ideal images of love, then the Tribe of Darkness is the clear antithesis to that, only wanting to further their strength through pure physical power at the cost of any human connection. However, I would like to note that even though he was born in a loveless environment, Blumiere was still able to love Timpani. I guess it just shows that, you know, love can be born from anywhere. Well, I guess that's everything I want to talk about Flopside for now. So you put the heart in the pillar thing, go to the door leading to... So you end up in the leg of Cragnons, and you get these Crag guys, and they say Crag, and then there's these flower sapien things that you gotta chase because they abducted the villagers. Uh-oh, that's not good. So you gotta save the Flintstones. Yeah, baby! Honestly, this level's pretty simple, and that's not a bad thing. There's just not much to talk about. The Cragnons are pretty funny, but one thing I actually do want to talk about are these things, the Muths. These things have 100 HP. Reminder that like most enemies in this game take like 1, 2, at most 3 jumps. These things take like 16, and you know what? It's really fun. Yeah, it's a difficulty spike, but even as a kid, I love the challenge. Seeing like how many consecutive jumps you could pull off on them, it's great, man. Plus, if you're a wuss, you can just like run past them in 3D or use Bowser's Flames. I will say, I think one thing the Muths demonstrate though is the issue of attack items in this game. Basically how they work is that you use the item, you get a little action command minigame thing, and then you do damage, right? They're fun, but the issue is the damage per second you can output with items pales in comparison to just regular jumping. And I'm not even talking about just like Bowser. Like, look at this how I fight this Muth, right? It would take ages if I was using just attack items. So attack items are almost useless against bosses or big enemies, right? But what about more open groups of enemies? Again, you can usually just chain jump on them, which, may I remind you, also gives you more score in the long run. Really, the only times using an attack item as an optimal scenario is when you're fighting an enemy whose hitbox is tricky to pin down, or you're dealing with a group of enemies that you really can't chain jump with. I guess that's not completely uncommon, but for my playthrough, I mostly just had my inventory stacked with healing items, which brings me to another issue. See, in the previous 2 games, I think your inventory was pretty well balanced, but they didn't let you store unlimited items, but I think the limit was fair. However, the limit hasn't changed when going into Super Paper Mario, and that's an issue. The issue with this is that in the first 2 games, you'd end up using your healing items more often because no matter what, you will get hurt. In Super Paper Mario, you usually end up taking less damage overall, and the amount of items you're allowed to carry isn't edited to fit this change in gameplay. So for most of the game, you'll have a surplus of items, which lowers the already moderate difficulty. So attack items are underused, healing items are in surplus, and also, to add on, it's kind of annoying to carry items back to Flipside if you want to cook them. How do you fix this? instead of lowering the overall item limit, what I do is that I break it into sections, alright? So maybe like 5 for healing items, 5 for stat boosters and attack items, and 5 for miscellaneous items. I'm not saying the item system is broken, but it definitely needs some working on, you know? Moving on! So you need to keep chasing the Flora Sapiens, but you need to break through this yellow brick to get into the pipe. So you look around the level for these tablet things to progress. The puzzles for the tablets are pretty good. They're more logic and exploration based rather than the keychain based puzzle design like 3-4. The solutions from the puzzles come less from your long list of abilities and more your ability to search the level for the solution, which I think works. It helps that they give you a good amount of new enemies to fight too. Oh, also Chunks is back. Hey, what the hell is Dementio doing here? He's disrupting the Sigma Male grind set. Get out of here! One thing I want to talk about in this O-Chunk sequence is that you can see I enter the cutscene with Bowser, but this is actually somewhat of a rare occurrence. What I mean by that is that most of the time you initiate a cutscene, you're usually playing as Mario, and I don't like that. The reason being is that the game thrives on its story, characters, and most importantly in this case, dialogue. Of course the gameplay matters, but I'd argue that these story elements are the foundation of the game. But whenever you enter the cutscene as Mario, you miss out on the extra dialogue from Peach or Bowser. And it's not like you know when a cutscene's gonna start, that, you know, they never give you a warning for when a cutscene's gonna start, but it's not like I'm gonna reset my console just so I can hear this extra pip of dialogue. And the situation is a pretty common occurrence since for most of the game you will be playing as Mario. He has the fastest base movement speed of the cast, which is a little bit less relevant with Carrie, but still, flipping is used to access a lot of hidden secrets and even just the common areas of the game. Couple this with the fact that I actively chose not to play as Bowser for a lot of my run due to how OP he is, and the fact that the fourth character is unlocked for like 3/4 of the game. You have a recipe for a very Mario-centric game, and I wouldn't mind that as much if he just wasn't so speechless. In a game where dialogue is one of the key elements, it kinda sucks to have a character you play as for the most of the game be a silent protagonist. Also, I'm just salty that I missed out on a lot of Bowser dialogue in this playthrough. This guy may be OP, but he's really funny, okay? So you get these tablet things into these things, then this dude Cudge says the funny, and now you get a hammer. Honestly, besides the yellow brick, I can't really remember other times where Cudge is like actually required. But that's not to say he isn't useful. He's not Slim 2, but more like Barry 2. Both aren't really required, but they're still really effective and good tools to have around. But yeah, Cudge is just a hammer. Simple and effective. Boomer could be used similarly as like a side attack option, but Cudge is just a lot quicker, making him more optimal for the role. Unless you're Bowser. In that case, you just use the Flame Breath, okay? It rules all. Next level! So in this level, you gotta find Flint Cragley's crew, which, by the way, is comedy gold again. I mean, just look at this dialogue. That's like top 50 funny right below How to Be a Ninja by Ryan Higa. I like these Cragnons with sprouts on their heads. They attack you, but if you actually beat them, you end up losing score, which I think is a neat mechanic. I feel like more games need to realize that enemies don't just have to hurt you in a traditional, oh, they lowered your health kind of way. They can attack you in other ways, like, I don't know, take your coins, your money, your experience, other things like that, and I like how this game incorporates that. Again, I wish they used it more, but still, interesting concept. And yeah, honestly, I really don't have much to say besides that. Next! Okay, one thing I should mention is that I am not a very smart person, and honestly, I didn't enjoy the last two levels, 5-3 and 5-4, that much. And I'm not going to be as crazy about it as I was with Chapter 4, because honestly, that was more my fault as a player. Basically, I have the memory of a goldfish, okay? So whenever I'm like even at a slightly confusing level, it'll take me forever to complete, because I just like repeat the same crap over and over and over again. So for example, most of the levels in this game took me about 20 minutes to complete, right? 5-3 took me 40, and 5-4 took me 50. And you can see most of it, I'm just going through the same routes over and over and over and over again. I spent like 23 minutes doing the same route over and over and over again. This was both hell for me to play and to rewatch this video. It's honestly really embarrassing. But yeah, after those 23 minutes, I got the key and opened this door, boom, new and last required Pixl, Dottie, alright? You may have noticed these little houses scattered throughout the game. Well, it turns out you can shrink yourself as Dottie and go into them and get some more uncommon items. I just like that Metroidvania-inspired design choice of backtracking to previous areas with new abilities. In terms of combat, Dottie's literally just a better Slim, because when you're small, most enemies can't see you, and you can move and jump, which honestly, I just think is broken. But let's be real, this game's balance was screwed the minute Bowser stepped in. Also, with this many doors, it exposes an issue I have with the game. See, a lot of times I go through the door and try to go left or right? But I accidentally keep holding down the up button and go back through the same door I just went through. I know it sounds small, but this has happened so many times in my playthrough. It's not my fault I got these big ass thumbs, alright, you know? So you get this Floro Sprout thing, and here's some ominous villain talk from Dimentio, and you get to keep it for the rest of the game, and you get to wear it just for the funsies if you want, you know? Step aside, TF2. This is the real hat game of the century. But more importantly, you get to bypass the scanner thing and enter King Crocus's lair. I love this room where you can read the history of the Flora Sapiens. It's totally optional, but it's there if you want to read it. It's pretty detailed, too. Also, calling out King Crocus the First. Why'd you think it was a good idea to have your tribe of sunflower people live in a cave with, like, zero sunlight? You know what I call that? I call that idiotic. Bonehead move. But yeah, do a little puzzle and you get to fight King Crocus. This fight's pretty good. The first phase actually incorporates platforming into the fight really well. You have these little flower minion guys whose heads you need to use as platforms, and their movement patterns are erratic, yet oddly fluid and organic. Coupled with Crocus going into its armor, it's actually a little difficult, which I appreciate. One issue I have is that Bowser's unusable for this fight. I know I've complained about how OP Bowser is, but whenever he isn't, he's just completely unusable. There's rarely a healthy in-between. So basically, don't play Bowser because he's completely screwed, or don't play Bowser because he demolishes everything. Okay. Then there's a second phase where it's just a floating head with these pinwheel things flying around, which, by the way, you're actually allowed to hit. I'm surprised that they should make that more clear, but yeah, you were allowed to hit those things. Again, pretty fun. It actually takes effort to attack the head with its defenses at play. But then, plot twist! The Flora Sapiens kidnapped the Kragons because they were polluting the water, and the poison water drove King Crocus insane. Yeah. I love how Tippy just has no comeback to this. Like, she's just realized they're responsible for a massive political assassination. But then the man, the legend, Flint Cragley comes in and is like, bitch!
The truth must be told.
And basically says he'll make a whole documentary informing the public about it. Honestly, I'm surprised the Flora Sapiens were willing to just give up the pure heart like that. Like, god damn, your king's body isn't even cold yet. Man, someone get him some air. So yeah, this pure heart is blue in color, or at least that's what I would say. That's what I would say if the game didn't specifically list this pure heart's color as indigo. Oh! Indigo! The audacity! Okay, real talk. Why is indigo a thing? See, indigo, unlike normal colors, isn't just one single color, but a spectrum of colors. Why do we need a label for a spectrum of colors? It's not like it covers half the color. We're like, oh, primary colors, you know, secondary colors. No, it covers blue and some purples. Why are you covering 1.5 colors? Like, why? And why'd you give that specific part of the spectrum a label? That's like if I took yellow in some origins, put them under the name Windalow. It's pointless. It's like science. It's like how scientists give like ants like 14 different thousand names or something, you know? But then I kind of realized how indigo kind of fits chapter 5, as a lot of the central conflict is very ambiguous. Indigo is a very ambiguous concept. It's not like blue or purple. It's not just one of those colors. Just like how the conflict between the Flora Sapiens and the Kragnons isn't black and white. Yeah, the Kragnons were at fault for polluting the water by constantly creating NFTs, but the Flora Sapiens were also at fault for escalating the situation. But at the end, their conflict is resolved by a specific aspect of love. And I'd say that type of love this chapter showcases is a love and peace between groups. There's nothing the two groups can do to fix their past faults, but what they can do is forgive and coexist. Just saying, this message is not applicable to these groups. If you see these people, do not forgive them. Off to the dungeon with them. Just death. Death! Also, some criticism for this chapter. I feel like the plot twist should have been foreshadowed more, and the Flora Sapiens really shouldn't attack you when you come back to this level. It doesn't make any sense within the story.
Hey yo man, you set for tomorrow?
Oh, Huhrune, yes, I'm so excited for the new Planet Sheen to premiere tomorrow.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Oh, you should have seen this little scrunkle I made. I should use this as my avatar when I do YouTube.
Karanshu, you already have a channel, and Planet Sheen already aired and got cancelled years ago.
Lies.
What?
Pants on fire. Idiotic. Bonehead move.
Dude, are you okay?
Alright, Huhrune, I see you at school tomorrow. Yay! Whee!
Oh boy.
Look, Timpani. The stars are beautiful, aren't they?
There's a tradition in my village. We believe that wishes on stars come true.
Oh, is that so? In that case, we'd better get wishing, don't you think?
I don't need to wish anymore. I already got my wish. Now I have everything I need right here.
Timpani, aren't you cold?
Not at all. I'm very warm. Can we stay like this? Just a little longer?
So yeah, by now you've probably noticed this house that's locked in Flopside. So basically, you gotta go to Merly, and she's like, hey, give me my crystal ball. So then you gotta go to Merly 2 for the crystal ball, and she's like, I can read the future, and the future says your ass needs to go to Bestuvius and get my DS! And so you go to, like, Bestuvius, and then she's, what did you say? He's all like, oh no, I'm a gamer, and the only way I'm giving it back is if you get my porno DVDs back from Witchit. So you go to Witchit, and he's like, I keep having wet dreams about this ghost lady, give me her autograph. And then you go to the ghost lady, and she tells you, damn, Industrial Revolution, World War III, conspiracy, but she gives you the autograph, and then you gotta be all like, and this and that and these for those, and you get the key, go into the house, and open the door, open the big chest, and an E flat! Oh, wait a minute, that's not an E flat, that's Piccolo! But yeah, Piccolo is another optional pixel you can get. All it does is that, it cures cursor effects, helps find secrets, and offers some cool Easter eggs, and also some small thing in like chapter 7. Is it OP? Nah. But I think curing cursor effects is a nice quality of life ability, Finding secrets is useful, and overall, the quest was a fun time. Not idiotic. Headbone move. Next chapter. So you go to Samur's Kingdom, and you gotta fight all these Samur dudes to get this purple pure heart. Now, purple is my favorite color, right? I'm an avid purple enjoyer. So let's do the color analysis thing justice this time, alright? So now, for this chapter, I think there's actually 2 different but equally interesting approaches to the themes and what specific aspect of love is symbolized in this pure heart. One of Purple's most commonly associated traits is royalty, which is clearly at play with King Samur and his vassals, who clearly respect and admire him. In that way, you could definitely make the argument that the type of love displayed in this chapter is one of patriotism. A people's love for their leader, and the leader's love for their people, all with a mutual love for their home, country, province, land, so on, so on. However, I also think there's an argument to be made for another aspect of love, that being romance. While not as commonly associated with it as pink or red, purple is somewhat associated with the idea of romantic love to an extent. I say romance because in one of Garrison's dialogues, we get some backstory in the Samur's kingdom. The Purple Heart came into possession of King Samur I after Merlumia's younger sister entrusted him with it. But she actually fell in love with King Samur and went like, protection. That's for suckers, alright? Let's have 100 kids, and they did. And that puss is probably a gaping hole at this point, Jesus. I kinda prefer the idea of patriotic love because I think it's a unique aspect of love. I mean, the only reason this patriotic love even exists in the Samur's Kingdom is because of a romantic love between Merlumia's sister and King Samur I. I guess maybe you can view romance as like the ultimate form of love, or that any other form of love is like a stepping stone to or a byproduct of romantic connection, but that's not how I view it. I feel like the aspects of love we've discussed can exist in a world without romance, but actually leave your thoughts in the comments below. I actually want to hear your guys' take on this. And also, I find it fitting that this chapter is the one where Count Bleck himself actually makes a move. I mean, his greatest past love was a romantic one, so for him to try to destroy the pure heart that's most closely tied to that can be viewed as him just trying to get rid of that part of himself. That it just doesn't matter to him, or at least that's what he wants it to be. He doesn't want it to matter to him anymore. So it turns out that the void is actually massive in this dimension. You don't have time, so you have to hurry to the end. You gotta keep going and going and going, and then you get to Mimi. And you gotta fight her, and I'm gonna be real, This is actually a really good and kind of hard fight for me. For once, this is one of the few times in the game where I actually felt challenged, and that's probably because I got dumb brain and I didn't realize I should be like using Thorough to use the rubies back at her. But this boss is actually completely different from the first Mimi fight. She's got new attacks and everything. She can flip into 3D. She throws a lot of projectiles at you. So this is one of the very few boss fights where I actually preferred to use more than one character in the fight, using Mario to chase after her in 3D and using Peach to block attacks. But yeah, good boss fight.
Be careful on the surface of reality, Garfield.
It's all gone. It's all gone. Literally no one in sight. The only remnants are small, colorless bits and pieces of architecture. No hidden secrets, no doors, no vassal, no king. It's all gone. This whole game, you're faced with the idea of you gotta save the world or the world will be consumed, but we all knew it wasn't gonna happen. This part right here is a complete subversion of expectations. It's not just some generic, empty threat to give the story tension. We actually get to see what happens if we fail. And it's kind of scary. The soundtrack emphasizes this haunting reality. It's filled with these completely odd, unrelated elements and instruments that feel like they shouldn't even be in a song, with some small, childish, creepy chimes, distant echoes of loud metallic bangs, that one thing that sounds like a Skrillex. Fuck. And the faint sound of a heart monitor which flatlines near the end. It comes at you with all these completely foreign pieces that your brain never associates with actual music. And you have to just listen to it as you slowly make your way down. You have no idea where you're heading. You just have to go through this barren hallway for a solid minute, giving you ample time to realize, I don't think I won this one. I think I kind of lost, actually. Big lose, actually. Big L. The worst part is that the vassals and the king aren't technically dead, since, spoiler, we get to the afterlife and none of them are actually seen or mentioned there. They've been completely wiped. Also, I appreciate the detail that we never actually get to see Chapter 6-3 or 6-4. We're so used to the idea that each chapter has 4 levels and that we're supposed to beat those 4 levels that when we don't, it feels like there's been a scripting error. Like what just happened wasn't supposed to happen. That something really wrong just went down, something so wrong that it broke the fundamental rules of the game.
Hey everyone!
Honestly, this fight's kinda just there. I wouldn't say it detracts from the moment, but I kinda would've preferred if it was just moved. It's not even much of a fight, you just gotta use Boomer to blow up the legs, but, you know, then just pick up the Pure Heart and end of chapter.
Timpani, what did you do with her? I must see her! Still your tongue, Blumiere. Can't you see you've been duped by a dirty human? You have brought shame to my name and to the entire tribe And of so darkness. what if I did? That doesn't matter to me. She's my entire world. Well, then it will interest you to know that she no longer resides in this world. What? What do you mean by that? This is the price those who resist their own fate must pay, my son. No, it can't be so! Someday you will see, son. Our kind and humans must never mix.
Wouldn't it be fun if we could go to hell?
Yeah, but how would we find out how to get there?
Wait, what the hell? Everyone's dead! Wait, why didn't you just do that sooner? Wait, why am I in hell? Wait, who are you? So you meet up with Queen Jadis, and she's like, hey, find my kid, and I'll unrock your heart. So you gotta go find this thing that you saw earlier. Wait a minute. A strange fellow dressed in green. Wait a minute. That can't be the Riddler. He's too sexy to die. Green. You get to play as Luigi, dude. Yeah. Oh, okay. Calm down. Still review. Okay. Analysis mode. Okay. I think they've done a great job with his gameplay mechanics here. First off, he's got a higher jump, but as a trade-off, slippery movement, just like the main series, and I think that still works here. And my favorite part is this super jump right here. You hold down on the D-pad, and you can jump crazy high. For one, this makes traversal way easier. Instead of falling down in a section and having to painfully jump the same platforms again and again, you just pop, and you're there. As a combat tool, I think it's pretty balanced too. It does have an attack bonus, but unlike this guy, you actually have to spend time charging it up to do a full super jump. Plus, it gives you a good attack option to attack enemies from below, with the most notable examples being piranha plants. But yeah, overall, the super jump is a really useful, versatile, but balanced tool. If I had one bad thing to say about it, it's that if you hold down for a super jump but let go early, you'll do a little mini hop. But what's interesting about this mini hop is that it actually has a hitbox and does the same amount of damage as a regular super jump. Now, that's more of a gimmick than an actual problem. The hitbox and timing this requires is usually a 50-50 on whether you'll actually hit your opponent. So if you compare it to a close range damage option like Kudge or Bowser, you know, it's not really a comparable thing. So it just ends up as like, you know, a fun gimmick to screw around with it more than anything else. So nothing really game breaking. Also, I cannot emphasize enough, it's so cool to play as Luigi, dude. Just look at him. How can you hate this guy? I don't know if it's just like because of my Luigi bias. I mean, everyone has Luigi bias, I'd like to think, you know, but or the fact they blue balled us for like 5 chapters, but hey, Luigi was the one character who I found myself playing not more, but like just as frequently as Mario. Again, I love him so much. But get the funny Shakespeare kid, you know, you get the pure heart restored, escape hell with Luigi, and you're back in Flipside with your pixels. So while we're in Flipside, I want to talk about coins in this, right? I think by far this game utilizes coins as a currency system better than any Mario game. You can buy cards, maps, arcade tokens, items. You can even give the money to this dude, and he builds pipes that offer a direct passage from Flipside to Flopside. I think it's worth the money, since honestly it's pretty annoying to go all the way down to the altar just to get to Flopside. I'm kind of mixed on making this locked behind an in-game paywall though, especially such an expensive one. If you're playing the game casually, you'll usually have enough money to do what you want, but if you're going for 100%, you may have to do a little bit of grinding, but not too much, since selling cards, finding maps, and doing the enemy gauntlets will set you at a pretty good amount of money to do what you want as well. But yeah, it's a well-balanced, good system. So yeah, you go back to the underground, and Queen Jadis is like, hey, take my kid while you're at it, you know? It's like, and then Lovebee goes from Scrunko to fucking British Tupac. Like, listen to these bars. Yeah, go in the door, hit the thing so you can get to... Alright, let me just start off by saying Lovebee is the best, alright? Like, she asked Tippy, hey, do thous have them, thous, give head? And Tippy's all like, breast milk, and then Lovebee's all like, psych, thous have no hose! Lovebee is totally the Eminem of Nintendo, okay? That's saying something, because Mario is actually heavily inspired by Eminem, so Lovebee being the actual Eminem, that's crazy. So you go into this dark room, and then there's this door that decides it wants to play a game of Jeopardy with you.
What number comes between 2 and 4?
Number 1.
And then you end up in this room, and it's
Bowser!
And he thinks the Mario Brothers are trying to cuck him, so you gotta fight him. This fight is kind of like an amendment to the original Bowser fight, since you actually have way more options on how you want to approach it, and it makes it a lot more fun in that way. And he's got some new attacks like his Flame Breath and whatever the hell he's doing here. Alright, well, whatever. You beat him, he comes back with you, right? He stops having a little hissy fit, and you go into another one of these dark areas. And I actually like these, alright? The darkness really makes you assess the little visual info you have. Plus, I like using Luigi to super jump to the top. So you get these 3 old ladies and advice. Don't do shit for the other 2, alright? Just help this one because she has the key. The others just give you a lame story and a thanks. So the first door guy just gives you some gag questions, right? The second one actually gives you some pretty decent memory puzzles, and then the third one just releases the hounds on you, and then the game goes like full-on RPG. Look, I could talk about actual design or balance in this, but I'll just appreciate the fact that someone took the time to program in an entirely different combat system just for a gag fight. Alright, so go through the door, hit the block to go to. I'm gonna say, I appreciate Lovebee for calling out Mario's unhealthy one-sided relationship with Peach, alright? That really resonated with me. Lovebee, you the real one, alright? Love you. But yeah, this level is like basically a bunch of massive highs and massive lows. For starters, this level in terms of sheer size per room is way bigger than anything else in the game, not even close. It's really fun just to jump crazy high with Luigi, and then these cloud trampolines that seem like super high, I love them. It's probably some of the best platforming in the game. And also, this sounds random, but using Luigi's super jump while using a slow-mo flower is just... it's so good. It's so good, dude. It's so fucking good. Oh man, it's good. However, this style of platforming comes at a cost, because when you're dealing with such great heights, when you actually fall and fail a jump, you have those few horrible seconds where you just have to watch all your progress just crumble around you. Your kingdom is fallen. You're falling, and it's real sad and mad and bad. And in reality, it really doesn't take that long to get back where you were. But in the moment, all you can feel is just pain. So much pain. So you eventually find Peach, but she's in a coma from eating some damn good Popeye's chicken, so you gotta get the fruit to wake her up. Now this part is kinda... see, since the level is so big, it's really hard to have a sense of where you are to where you just were. So I find myself just really lost. And not like an intentional feeling of lostness like in a maze level, just like a regular, unfun kind of lost. And it's not like getting to point A to B, right? It's like getting to, oh crap, alright, I have to get to point G, but I have to find a key in points B through F, but I don't know which one is the right one, so I have to backtrack a lot in a level where getting lost is a very, very easy thing to do. This level took me a whole hour to beat, by the way. Also, inventory management is a big issue in this level, since the fruits you collect are counted as regular items, not key items. This makes it really hard if you just want to get all the fruit at once and just to try them all out on Peach at once to see if they work. So, you either have to get one fruit at a time if you have a full inventory, or sacrifice the items in your pocket to make room for the fruit. The part that sucks is that I actually brought back a bunch of different colored fruit back to Flipside after this, but they all just give the same recipe. That's just disappointing, man, honestly. But yeah, this level is really high highs, really low lows. On to... honestly, I don't really have much to say about the first half of this level. Basically, you have to find these preacher guys, and they have these 3 orbs in total, and you need those orbs to get to the boss. And that's not to say it's bad. Again, this design is fine, I just don't have anything to say that wouldn't be redundant. So you kind of just ignore this massive race war going on, and then you go in and fight this dude bone chill. One thing I like about this fight is that I appreciate the fact that it rewards you for playing as Luigi. Now, I've criticized other bosses for locking you into certain playstyles, and yeah, I know, but I appreciate that this boss, in fact this whole chapter, is very Luigi-centric in terms of gameplay. I think I've made it very clear that I'm kind of peeved that Luigi's unlocked so late in the game, but as I write this review, I realize that Chapter 7 really kind of makes up for that lost time. I mean, in Chapter 7-1, right? It's not like the level's built around Luigi's toolkit, but since you just got him and the hype surrounding him, the fact he's Luigi, I think most players would, choose him for that chapter. Then there's 7-2, which has these high climbing sections which allow Luigi's super jump to shine, and the super jump is another way to attack Bowser, so there's that. Then there's 7-3, which, let's be real, is pretty much exclusively a Luigi level. Like, I switched to Mario once to check for secrets here and there, but with all these high cloud platforms, it's just made for Luigi to super jump around in. And now 7-4, we have a boss that is very designed around Luigi. In this case, I don't mind them locking me into playing Luigi because as a player, I already subconsciously accept that this is a Luigi chapter, and I was already having fun and hyped to play as Luigi in the first place. Now the actual mechanics of the fight, it's alright. I feel like one thing that really would have made this fight better is if you had an icy floor. As it is, it's very easy to just go up to Bone Shell and uppercut super jump him, right? It's pretty easy. And since he only has 80 HP, he goes down pretty fast. I think having an icy floor would make it harder to actually hit him, thus making the fight harder for the better. A bit more fun, As it is, it's a fun but easy fight, and I appreciate the design philosophy, but it could use a little bit of tweaking. So, you beat Bone Chill, and Lovebee has just realized that she's in fact a pure heart given living form. And somehow, Queen Jace gets here in like 12 seconds. I actually don't know how she got here, honestly. I think she Ubered. And while Lovebee may not have gotten as much previous dialogue or foreshadowing towards this moment as I'd hoped for, this final dialogue with her and her parents is just really sobering. I mean, it's still got cute and funny dialogue, but the undertone is still pretty sad. This kid has come to the realization that their entire existence is a farce, and they think that everything that's happened to them is just a lie, and they're coming to terms with the fate that they've never wanted. Of course, Loveby denies it at first, but it turns to anger against Granby and Jadis. Granby's the dad, by the way. She claims that they had no right to be her parents, but that anger is really just a thinly veiled attempt at hiding the pain, because let's be real, I think we all try to mask pain with some kind of other emotion at some point, but Jadis won't let her. She tells Loveby that it didn't matter that she's a pure heart. What matters is at the end of the day, Loveby was their daughter. I think this closure gave Loveby the strength to accept who she is and her role in this prophecy. She flashes and you can see a white pure heart. Now, an attribute commonly associated with white is purity or innocence. This makes sense when you realize Loveby is a very innocent and pure character. They make rude remarks from time to time, but what kid doesn't? At the end of the day, she's just a nice kid who's full of love in her heart, and she just wants to find someone else to share that love with. But as for the main aspect of love represented in this chapter, I think it's very clearly familial love. For one, I think it plays into the color white, which is every color in one. It's fitting since, if you ask me, I kind of see familial love as like taking bits and pieces from the other aspects of love we've talked about so far. We can clearly see familial love showcased in this final scene with Loveby and her family, but we also see it at the beginning with Mario and Luigi, who obviously share a lot of brotherly love. And this is more my personal opinion, but I think having the group split up in this chapter and have to reunite kinda strengthened their bond in my eyes. At this point in the game, it really felt like they were a family unit working together, and I don't know, I like that. Before Loveby leaves, she tells her family that she truly loves them, and we get the pure heart, the physical and emotional stakes higher than ever.
Oh, yes, I'm telling you, Mrs.
Last name blocked.
I've worked in the field for 30 years, and there's a patient, I can diagnose them all, I can understand them all, I'm the Jesus Christ of psychiatry.
Oh, gaga, feed me. Breastfeed me, doc. Breastfeed me, doc. Gaga, baby.
How do you say, that feeling is broken. I can't now. Get me my Uber, please, now.
Blumiere, my son, don't! Even your ancestors could not handle that dark book. You open it. There's no telling what might happen. I do not care, Father. A world without her is empty. A life without her is empty. Speak, dark prognosticus. Teach your dark history. I await your command. Black! Blumiere, what have you done? Silence! The first prophecy beckons. I will erase every inch of this blasted world! Blumiere, don't do this! Blumiere! Blumiere is no more. I am Count Bleck, and no one shall stand in my way!
Alright, before we get to the last chapter, I'm going to mention one thing. Maps! Also cards. Honestly, these things are just really cool. I think they're a nice way to extend the game's runtime. So basically there's like 256 cards in the game that all list like enemies and characters. You can use catch cards, find them in chests, or just flat out buy them. Then there's maps, which you can buy from this dude in Flopside, and they basically show you an image in an earlier level where you can use Fleep to unlock a secret item. See, I told you guys Fleep would be useful, right? Respect my man Fleep. Usually the prices are pretty good, and sometimes you have to pay like 50 coins for a map that has you backtrack all the way to the end of 2-4 for a dried mushroom! Alright, really strong first level to start the chapter. Again, it's a pretty simple level, just introducing you to Bleck's castle, but I think it just has some really good enemy placement and variety. There's nothing really crazy, but it goes to show how something as simple as where you place enemies in the stage and the variety of enemies can make for a really fun and engaging level. This entire chapter takes all the enemies you've faced and puts them together in entirely new combinations, and it makes it feel like this is the final test of all you've learned throughout the game while making it feel completely new. The only Okay, so, bad news. You can't use Bowser because he's probably dead. Oh, look! It's Merlin! And a conveniently placed switch. I hope it isn't actually the bad guy who's known for shapeshifting. You fool! Oh, not this again. I just fell for this. Okay, whatever. Basically, you gotta tell Merly what you're scared of and it'll appear in the next 3 rooms. You can cheese it and just choose all the good item options, but I like to fight the enemies for, points, so... Alright, Clubba, some Harrows, wait a minute. Wait a minute. No way. No, Francis? Francis! No, so yeah, you get to fight Francis again. I mean, I'm not complaining, I'm just happy to see the guy again. You think those things scare me? Try putting an E flat there next time. Oh! And then Peach is like, girl, you cray-cray. But then Mew's like, girl, at least I don't have male escorts. Like, damn, there's some hot-ass fire you're playing with. I like how Mario and Luigi don't say anything in this scene. They just nod and slowly walk away. Backwards, I might add. They don't want to keep an eye off Peach. They don't want to get, like, a knife in the back. And then Peach just watching Mimi pull her neck-breaking shtick and is just like, I don't give a heck. Come on, put him up. Okay, you know what? Maybe it's because I just suck at video games, but I swear, this boss had no right to be as intense as it was for me, alright? Like, I got really close to actually dying. This is really an endurance fight. Mimi just has so much health. Like, of all the times I need Tippy to tell me how much health an enemy has, now's the time you give me question mark, question mark, question mark. Come on. That's just lame, dude. That's lame. And the more you hit her, the faster and faster and faster she gets. How do you get faster with less legs? How does that make sense? But since she's so slippery, it just makes it more satisfying when you finally pin her down. Like, look at that snipe. Look at that snipe. Play it again. Play it again. Play that snipe again. Oh, no, one more time, one more time. One more time. Oh. Ah! So now you're down to just Mario and Luigi, and you're faced with the last of Bleck's main minions, Dementio. What I like about this level is the build-up to it. I already mentioned the great enemy variety and placement throughout this whole chapter, but Dementio makes himself an obstacle way before you actually face him. He shoots his magic at you when you're trying to platform your way to the other side of the room, and it's actually kind of challenging. What I like about this is that it's the exact kind of scenario Peach would have been ideal for. This section does a great job of reinforcing that feeling of loss through gameplay, making you realize what you've been relying on this whole time by taking it away from you. What the f- So, you finally track down Dementio, but he's not gonna let you pin him down easily, because he's Dementio, so you gotta chase him throughout all of the past chapters. Not only is this a great recap of your journey, and not only is it a little casual flex of how strong Dementio's powers are, but I just find it fitting for a villain like Dementio, who always seems to have more cards than he lets on, to play around with you like this. Even after you catch him, he'll still try to bargain with you and try to convince you that all of his actions were to help you and that he's been against Bleck from the beginning. And of course, you don't actually believe him, but honestly, his fake claims were pretty convincing if you're looking at this from Mario and Luigi's perspective. But again, obviously Dementio is a bad guy, so you say no, and then he disses Luigi's mustache, causing Luigi to go into a primal rage and demand a cage match to the death. Honestly, I don't even know if Dementio had any new attacks, because when you have a boss who takes the high ground directly above you, and then there's a character who excels at punishing enemies who are directly above him, it becomes kind of a wash. Alright, here we are, the final level of the game. Now, one thing I noticed is that by the time I reached this level, all my healing items were used up. The first 3 levels did a pretty good job of using up your health bit by bit. Like, I came in with like a good amount of health and healing items, right? But I was so overconfident at this point that when I actually like kept getting hit over and over and used my healing items over and over again, it was like only until the 3rd level I started realizing, oh crap, I actually have to manage stuff. Oh, damn. So, I was on my toes. I don't have any safety net now anymore. And you guys are probably thinking, oh, what? So you just have to start at the beginning of the level, right? No, you don't understand. You have to think from my perspective, okay? if I die, that means I have to re-record that section all over again, alright? Do you know how much GB space that takes up? It's like 1 whole gig, alright? You know, and you know, mate, I have like a lot of gigs, right? But, you know, every gig matters, okay? I can't afford, like, you know, a new hard drive every time, okay? Just like, come on. I need to finish this in one try, okay? This chapter as a whole didn't really introduce any new enemies except for these two. I'm gonna call these dudes fellas because I don't know their official name and I'm not gonna bother looking it up. I really like the fellas. They got this like nice mini-boss feeling to them. They're harder to pin down than most enemies, got a good chunk of health, packs a punch, and aren't unfair to fight against. But then the game throws these guys at you. Mega Muths, alright? Mega Muths. So remember how I talked about how crazy the Muths were in Chapter 5? These guys have double the health and almost double the attack power. And they throw like 10 of them in one room. That was a burp of fear, dude. Oh my god. And before you get your fighting trousers on, reminder, you don't have Bowser. You can't just like, you know, flame breath your way through this. So you have to rely on just Mario and the Pixels. So unless you're a gamer god or an escapee from Arkham Asylum, alright, I recommend just flipping and running to the other side of the room. So after taking damage from the Megamuths in this cool platforming room, which I lost an embarrassing amount of health to, you get to the final rooms before you face Black. So basically it's a bunch of corridors and you have to find the one that leads to a door, and then, you know, another door, and then until you eventually reach Count Bleck, and of course, they throw a bunch of enemies at you. And this was nerve-wracking, man. Like, I was one mistake away from having to start back from the beginning, right? Just one hit and dead. And there I was, cornered by the fellas, back up against the wall, penis slightly erect, veins throbbing, knees weak, hands sweaty, yet no Mother Spaghetti to heal me. So I fought valiantly till my last breath, and then... And now, it's time to fight Bleck, but uh-oh, you can't hit him because the Chaos Heart is shielding him. But it turns out, the Breakfast Club is alive, and we use the Pride Flag Hearts to suspend Count Bleck's Twitter account! Well, this is a pretty alright final boss. Bleck throws black holes your way, slows down time, is that a wave dash? No! This is not Melee! So in his moment of defeat, I think it's finally time to sit down, take some time, maybe grab a coffee, and talk about the genius of Count Bleck's character and how it ties into the Chaos Heart. In a way, the Chaos Heart is symbolic and a physical representation of Bleck's absence and bastardization of love. Bleck was born into the tribe of darkness, which seemed to go against the passion and emotion the ancients held in favor of pure physical power. But Bleck didn't start out as some alone, loveless monster. He actually grew into someone with plenty of love to spare. It presents an idea that love can come from anywhere. Bleck's real downfall into villainy actually came from the best part of his life, his relationship with Tippy. It wasn't just that he loved Tippy beyond what words can describe. Tippy was literally the only outlet for any real emotion, since his whole tribe exists because they chose to cut themselves off from any human connection for power. So, when his tribe took that away from him, it of course destroyed him. Without Tippy, life meant nothing to him, causing him to be filled with so much hate he decided to destroy the world. So much hate that even when the person he wished for has come back, he's still too deep in it to come back. It wasn't that he was born without love, it's that he had love and his subsequent absence brings him pain of wanting what he once had. The Chaos Heart represents this as it's black in color. Black is essentially the absence of color, meaning it's the absence of love. And as well, both Bleck and the Chaos Heart both showcase toxic bastardizations of love. With Bleck, it's his relationship with Natasha, and with the Chaos Heart, it's with Peach and Bowser. I just never realized I never went over the wedding scene until now, so, basically the Chaos Heart was born through a wedding between Peach and Bowser, which of course was orchestrated by Count Bleck. So the Chaos Heart was essentially born out of an improper bastardization of love, because Peach holds no romantic love for Bowser, and while Bowser does hold a romantic love towards Peach, it's very unhealthy. Meanwhile, Bleck has Natasha. Much like Peach and Bowser, one party is hopelessly in love with the other, while the other just doesn't really see them that way. Like, Bleck knows Natasha has feelings for him, but he just ignores them because he's just too self-indulgent. And we see Tippy desperately trying to bring back what's left of Blumiere until... So all hope is lost. The pure hearts are used up, the world is ending, and my theory that Riddler was Mr. L has been proven wrong. But Tippy won't take that for an answer. Bleck's ready to give up. After all, he's lived without any hope for God knows how long, but at his lowest point, and with Tippy finally able to just talk to him, she's able to break through to him. And on top of Tippy, he's reminded of the other people who loved him even during his darkest period. And this is honestly one of my favorite redemptions for a villain ever. The love and compassion his minions and Tippy is enough to bring the pure hearts back. And so Tippy goes off and delivers them to Mario.
Hey Luigi! Mario! Bye-bye!
Alright, so Dimentio's defeated, but even after that, he still has a little bit of his power controlling the Chaos Heart. You know, one thing I will say is that I really don't understand why Dimentio's doing this. That's the one thing I don't like about him. They need to expand on his motivations more. Great villain, just don't understand why he's doing this, you know? But we go back to where it all started. The wedding room. Tippy and Bleck's love, along with the Pure Hearts, are the only thing powerful enough to stop the Chaos Heart. It's fitting that Timpani and Blumiere together are what's needed to destroy something which is essentially all of Bleck's hate in physical form. And even after all that's happened between them, they finally get to be together, and they reinstate their love for each other in the end.
Timpani, do you remember the promise we made to each other that day?
Yes, I remember.
If there was a place where we could be happy together, we would find it. Will you come with me to that place now?
Blumiere, of course. I will always be with you.
So yeah, everyone's alive. Even Timpani and Blumiere, they're shown to be alive too. I really don't think the specifics are important. It doesn't matter where they are. What matters is that they're together. Wow, what a game. Well, time for the post game.
Not so fast, dumbass.
Oh, I mean, Ooh, I'm a little baby. Come on, breastfeed me. I'm a little... Ow! Dude, what the hell?
Cut the crap, dumbass. The last time I checked, you're not a baby. You're 18, you go to college, and you even have a full-ass beard. Dude, just be real with me right now.
Look, okay, fine. I don't want to leave, man. I know I have to. I mean, I know everyone has to, leave eventually, but... And I know everything can't stay the same forever, and I know people will come and go and things will always inevitably change, but... And I gotta roll the punches, but it's just... This home is everything to me. All those years of school, those sleepovers, all headaches with homework, smiles, boredom, tears, joy, the moments that shaped me into who I am today. Even this channel that I love so much, it started in that closet right over there. It's more than leaving the house, my family, my friends. That's bad enough on its own, but no matter what happened in life, I could always take certain things to be constant, and now, that's all going to be flipped on its head. I mean, and what if when I get there, it's not as good as home? And I just don't mean like the first couple weeks of homesickness, that's everyone, but I mean, what if life will never be as good as I had it here? What if this is the peak of happiness in my life?
Look, Karanshu, not everything is gonna change. After all, we're gonna be here. So if you ever need someone to talk to, no matter what time of the year or what time of the day it is, do call us. We'll always be here.
I don't know, man. I just don't think I'm ready yet.
What's this?
Oh, that's just the last part of the script for this video.
What's this scrapped section of a Queen Pixl?
Oh, yeah, you know what? Why not? May as well paraphrase the story. So basically, pixels were created by transferring spirits into vessels. Among the 12 original pixels, a bunch of copies were created based on those originals. But then there was a pixel uprising. A huge pixel that went by the title the Pixl Queen had reared a rebellion against the ancients. She was a demonic spirit that was able to command other pixels, and the ancients suffered greatly as they developed a massive dependence on the pixels, thus marking the start of their decline. At this point, the Pixl Queen had overthrown and enslaved the ancients. But then came the 12 inheritors of the original pixels. One was able to survive and make it to Queen Pixel's stronghold. They were able to take the queen. This, of course, marked an outlaw of pixel creation from here on out, thus sealing the decline of the ancients as the dominant civilization. But there's still more to the story. Apparently, Queen Pixel was the first pixel ever created. A master magician created them after reading the Dark Prognoticus. The person who took out the queen decided to take the book so that this catastrophe wouldn't repeat itself. And as it turns out, the Pixel Queen's spirit was actually human to begin with. The master magician originally had a family, a wife, son, and daughter. His wife and son would die in some accident, and the daughter would later die of an illness. And it's strongly implied that as an attempt to save or resurrect her, the master magician put the soul of his daughter into a vessel of who we know as the Pixel Queen.
Huh. Neat.
Okay, look, I know it's complicated, but I don't know how to fit it into the video. And also, the video is the least of my problems right now because if I may repeat myself, I'm losing everything that was a constant in my life. And also, there was a therapist here earlier, so I'm worried I might get sent to an institution, so yeah.
Wait, man. Don't you see the message of the story?
What?
The whole message of the story is that you shouldn't hold so tightly to what you love. I mean, every bad event that happened in the story was because that magician guy wasn't able to accept the pain and just move on. He tried to stay in the past, and it just ruined his life.
So you're saying if I don't go to college, I'm going to cause an uprising?
Well, that could be in the cards, especially after what I did in France. But what I'm saying is that you need to do this. I know you love this place. It's your home. But I know you can make the best of it in college. And I know that I'll be there for you, man. Just like I know how you'll be there for me.
Thanks, man.
So, ready to pack up?
Yeah, just in a bit. I just need to finish this up real quick. It won't take long, I swear. Hey guys, now I would talk about the post-game, but honestly, I haven't had the equipment to record it. My current living situation has not offered me the internet speed required to stream the post-game like I wanted to on Twitch, but from past playthroughs of it, I will say this. It's pretty fun, well-balanced, a good challenge, and the rewards are great. So if you do have the game, I highly recommend that even after you beat it, just play those enemy gauntlets. So Flip Side, Pit of 100 Trials, Flop Side, Pit of 100 Trials, and the Samur's Kingdom. Those are really fun. I guess the last bit of analysis I'll do is Dash L, which is a reward for beating the Flip Side, Pit of 100 Trials, which I actually did beat for the script. I just lost the VOD, honestly. It's pretty great to have a speed boost pixel, nice convenience. Carry already kind of gave you a speed boost, but this is better, so yeah, still a pretty decent reward. That being said, follow my Twitter. I'll share any updates of when I'll be able to stream Samur's Kingdom and Flopside, and just stream in general. That whole ordeal may be a separate video on its own, honestly, but yeah, that's about it. I guess it's time to go. Hey guys, I'm here in my fucking dorm room, so I'm just doing a quick look around, see? Yeah, my dorm room, so yeah, I'm in college now. It's alright.
Hello, everyone.
Why is he green?
I think you know why I've gathered you all here today. We've all been there, living our lives normally, minding our business, not a care in the world. But then, you feel something. It's a little pricking feeling, the kind you get when you're getting a flu shot. Except this flu is a loud, annoying troglodyte that hasn't washed that stupid red jacket of his in years, won't stop DMing and calling you out on his Twitter. That's why it's time to take care of this moronic pest once and for all. We've all been wronged by this man for too long. Like, take this man for example. Due to Karanshu's actions, he was left under a bag of semen for a month.
Dude, I thought we were gonna keep that under wraps, man. What the fuck?
And this innocent crocodile here, you said your name was Vector, right? He was just trying his best to get college credit as an unpaid intern, working as the second in command under Al-Qaeda directly under Bin Laden. And yet his boss was taken out by Karanshu.
Now I can't find the computer room!
Wario, all you wanted was some help with coding your master project. That Karanshu should have known his enslavement was for the greater good.
Wah!
And Melman, why do you hate him again?
I'm not a fan of minority groups stating opinions that put my worldview into jeopardy and cause me to reevaluate my beliefs and moral compass.
Oh, you're a Redditor. You know, good for you. And finally, Bowser. Wait, what? Wait, that's not the real Bowser. That's just a JPEG of Bowser? Okay, I'm not even gonna ask how or why Karanshu managed to get a JPEG to hate him. But, how can this thing help us? It's good at air hockey. Okay, we'll work with that. And now, with the introductions out of the way, it's time to show the world who we are.
By the way, France deserved it.